Well, tonight's the first presidential debate. How many of you are going to be tuning in? I will be tuning in. I'll be popping some popcorn. Grover's going to be there. We're going to be tuning in to see. So, a little presidential debate preview for you tonight. Tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Presidential debate is going to last 90 minutes. It will have no commercials, and it will air on all major television stations, as well as it'll be on YouTube. So if you want to watch it right here on YouTube, on C-SPAN, you can do that as well. C-SPAN's YouTube page will have it. Fox News Sunday host Chris Wallace is going to be moderating the debate, and it's going to be taking place out there in Case Western Reserve University out in Cleveland, Ohio, which has suddenly become a bit of a battleground state again, where President Trump is having to spend quite a bit of time playing defense. Now, this is, of course, a state that he won handily over Hillary Clinton. Now, Biden is winning in Ohio. And President Trump is having to spend money and time going back to Ohio again. And again, yesterday, as I pointed out, that, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. And right now, with only 35 days left, every one of these days matters. And if you're a candidate and you're having to spend time in a state that you should already be up and winning and not wasting time in, that is trouble. So again, don't listen to what Trump is saying, flapping his gums. Don't listen to Biden flapping his gums. Watch what they do. Right now, money is being spent bigly in Ohio. Florida, we are virtually tied in Florida. Biden is up by like 1 or 2 points, but it's still within the margin of error in Florida. So I think Florida on election night will be the biggest and most important state to pay attention to. And we anticipate topics tonight in this presidential debate to include the pandemic, of course, coronavirus. This is, to my mind, Joe Biden's biggest opportunity to go after President Trump. President Trump has tried to turn the page and steer the debate towards Joe Biden on coronavirus, but all of the polling shows that that has fallen flat because he's not the president. He's not the president. Just like a month ago when Joe Biden had said, if I were president, I would institute a national mask mandate. And President Trump out on the campaign trail says, Joe says he'd have everyone wear a mask, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it. What? What the hell are you talking about?
Come on, man.
In Ohio tonight, President Trump, Vice President Biden in a major battleground state. Again, among the topics, the pandemic. This will be one of the biggest topics that they'll be discussing. And I think that it's going to be the most difficult for President Trump to answer, given that we know the truth from the Bob Woodward interviews, that this was downplayed and largely ignored at the beginning. We know that as a fact. We know that there was at least 30 days, and just all you need to do is listen to Republican pundits, by the way. Just listen to Republicans who slammed President Trump when that news came out, as he was up there basically lying to the American people about our coronavirus response in the United States. And we now know it's his own voice on tape in those interviews. So unlike calling it fake news, which you can do with every other story, this was real. So that's going to be his most difficult thing to answer because coronavirus is the number one topic for most Americans right now. How does it affect the economy? My kids going back to school? Being able to put food on my table? I can't pay rent. I'm having my utilities shut off. Will there be another stimulus? All of those questions. And Vice President Biden does not have a job right now. So, President Trump can try to spin it all he wants. And he can try to say, hey, Joe, I know you wanted to put a national mask mandate in place, but you didn't do it, did you? Joe Biden can look back over him and say, are you senile? Because I'm not president. I don't have that power. In fact, I don't have a job right now. I'm running for your job. I don't know how I would answer that. Like if I get one of those like crazy Trump moments where he's like, Joe, you had enough. You said this summer that you were going to put a national mask mandate in place, but you didn't. You didn't do it. How would I answer? I'd be like, well, first of all, I'd probably throw one of these at him.
Come on, man.
I go, come on, man. And then I'd say, I don't have your job. I don't have any power. I'm running for your job. If I did have your job, yes, I would pass a national mask mandate. Oh, good response. Score one for you. Among the other things that are expected to be talked about tonight, Trump's Supreme Court nominations. That's going to be a big one. As we learn more and more about his nomination of Coney Barrett and trying to ram this through before Election Day, before Inauguration Day, and the hypocrisy on the right of trying to push through of something that they said they would not do with of course, what's his name under Obama? Drawing a blank off the top of my head. I can't keep all of these justices in my head. I'm sure it'll come to me, unless anyone wants to hit me up in the chat about it. Merrick Garland, I just remembered. I knew it would come to me. Thank you, coffee. So they'll talk about the Supreme Court tonight. They'll also be talking about race relations and Black Lives Matter. It'll be interesting to hear President Trump talk about that. Remember, folks, 90 minutes with no commercial breaks, starting at 9 p.m. So these guys better be on their best. It's going to be fascinating to watch. And Chris Wallace is no pushover. He will go after both of these guys. He's going to go after Biden. I hope he goes after Biden. Certainly, it maybe not come up in this debate because we talk about foreign policy a little bit in another debate. But talking about his voting on the Iraq War, I hope the moderators go after him on those questions. Because it's very easy right now, given Trump's tax returns, for that to be the big focus of the evening. And it should be. It's a big story. Just like Hillary's email became a huge debate conversation when James Comey rolled out that revelation about her email right before the debates. And that question came up in the debates. So Trump's tax returns showing corruption, crony capitalism, massive amounts of debt, which are considered national security threats, paying Ivanka as a contractor when she was also an employee, paying legal bills for people when that's a campaign violation to pay other people's legal bills. I mean, the list goes on these tax returns. It'll be interesting to see what area Trump goes with, or Chris Wallace goes with tonight, and whether or not he fires back with a fake news answer. That's fake news. Those are fake tax returns. And whether Chris Wallace will fire back with and say, no, I'm going to be watching that part. We're also going to be talking about the election itself, the validity of mail-in voting, absentee voting, all of that stuff, and the economy, all of it. So it's a big, big night. First presidential debate of the 2020 election cycle for Republicans and Democrats on one stage. No more primary debates. How many of you will be swayed by this vote? Let me know in the comments below. Will this sway your vote, tonight's debate? According to the latest polling, most people say nope, it will have no effect on how they plan to vote. And by the way, millions of you have already voted. So millions of ballots have already been cast before we even have the first presidential debate. I will be watching. I will have full coverage right here on Morning Invest. Thank you so much for subscribing. Don't forget to read the morning newsletter because we're going to have full coverage of the debate tonight. But tomorrow morning in the newsletter, go to morninginvest.com is how you subscribe to the newsletter. And it'll be delivered to your inbox first thing in the morning. So around 6:45 in the morning Eastern time over your cup of coffee, you can read the full night's news, the things that I think are most important for you to know. So thank you so much for subscribing and being a big part of our Morning Invest community here. Thank you so much for watching.